have seen last week a record sale for farmland in Iowa. 80 acres in Sioux County sold for a price of $21,900 per acre. This is the same county that set the previous record of $20,000 per acre last year. Looking at Nebraska at the Crop Insurance Workshop in Grand Island Wednesday, we talked with Allan Vyhnalek about the past, present, and future for land prices here in this state.
Well, they're at an all-time historic high. Even if you adjust all the inflation out of the dollars, we're probably $150 an acre higher than we were in 1980 at the previous peak when you consider all class Nebraska land sales. And I would also add that the land has doubled in price, or just over doubled in price, but 120% of price in the last 5 to 6 years.
And perhaps the next question, the answer is obvious, but why?
Well, mostly because, well, several reasons.
Right.
Okay, the land deal is it's just like any other market. It's driven by supply and demand. Okay, so we have this unprecedented demand because we have increased profitability from farming over the last 5 or 6 years. And so what do farmers do? I'm not trying to pick on farmers, but what do farmers do? They put it into what they need, and they want more land. And so they bid up the land. That's neither good or bad, that's just the way it is. It happened in 1970, 73 to 80. It's happening from 2006 to the current time. And so you have this investment being made in additional farm ground. And it's also a demand deal because you have a lack of alternative investments that are doing as well as farm ground. The CDs aren't doing very good, passbook savings, stock market. Nobody feels very comfortable with those alternative form of investments. At least farm ground's giving you some return on investment. And then the other thing is the whole supply side. I mean, everybody's got to understand that Nebraska historically turned 3% of its land each year. So at any given time, you'd expect a piece of ground to come up for sale probably once every 33, 35 years, something like that. Now we're changing 1.26% of the land per year. Like in my county, in Platte County, where I'm at, 0.66% of the land sold last year, 2011. So we're talking about a particular piece of ground coming up for sale once every 100 years or so. And so you just don't have that, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity to buy land, and so you don't want to step back and let that happen.
And that pool of buyers comes pretty big. Are they buying cash or are they getting loans for it?
The UNL statistics on that is 51% all cash, and a lot of the sales that are going on that aren't completely all cash are undergirded with a lot of assets, and so we're not exposed like we were in the late 70s and early 80s. We've got a high amount of leverage behind, a lot of equity behind these purchases.
What are they seeing? What do they expect to be seeing in return on their investment once they make that purchase?
Traditionally, we would expect to return 6 to 7% on land. But now we're down to 2 to 3%, which is not bad necessarily. It sounds bad, but it's not necessarily bad because land is relatively higher value. You're probably getting about the same return, just on a percentage basis it's lower. And 2 to 3%, what does that compare to passbook savings? 0.1%, less than 1/2 of 1%. CDs, 0.3, 0.4%. Stock market, I invested $1 in the stock market a couple of years ago in April, and in December it was worth 93 cents. That didn't work very good for me.
Right.
So the whole deal is even at 2 or 3%, we're still cranking along. We're still doing something.
The other argument would be a CD can't crash. A CD is a set rate. The Wall Street, when you invest in financial markets or land, it could go down. But that's not what's happening right now. Land values are actually still going up, yes?
Yes, land values are still holding very strong. As you know, from the $21,000 sale in Iowa, and we've had $11,000 sale, a $14,000 sale, and a $15,000 sale in Platte County the last 2 weeks.
Once you get up to 21,000, you can say 21 and some, and it doesn't really make a difference.
Doesn't sound like much, does it?
So for that pool of buyers getting in, if there's a farmer or rancher who sees attractive land coming up, obviously there are going to be a lot of buyers, and the price is probably going to go pretty high. So what are the things that they need to remember when they try to think about what their top dollar is going to be?
Well, you got to work with your lender on that. Obviously, as I talk to our lenders in Columbus, they work with people all the time they come in and say, okay, this tract of land is coming up for sale. What can we do? And they try and figure it all out. And you got to keep yourself in a strong equity position. You can't get yourself leveraged to the point that you're going to get in trouble if land values start to fall back a little bit. It's just going to be a tough deal. You just have to decide what that's really worth to you, and kind of a little bit on the age and stage of your life. I mean, if you're younger, you may have a different threshold for the pain or a different threshold for the borrowing than you do when you're a little bit older. I mean, I personally, on my age, I would not want to be into a 20 or 30 year land note right now to get that paid back. I'm not going to be working that hard that long.
As we mentioned in a recent show, UNL Extension will be providing a workshop for landlords and tenants at 27 sites across Nebraska in November and December. The workshops are free and sponsored by the North Central Risk Management Agency and the Nebraska Soybean Board. You can find more information about the Landlord-Tenant Cash Lease workshops in the October 19th edition of Market Journal on our website.